Welcome to a detailed overview of ProjectHUB Mobile version 2.0. So TRIVA has a new mobile application for ProjectHUB. It's called ProjectHUB version 2.0. This new application is available for both iOS and Android devices with identical capabilities on both platforms. It's easy to find this application. Simply go to the Apple App Store or the Android Play Store and search for the word ProjectHUB, all together, one word, and you should be able to easily find the application and install it. And it's free, so give it a try. Second, once you have this application installed, we want you to realize that ProjectHUB Mobile is a completely new application. It has an upgraded user interface and really simple and easy to use navigation. You can see the screenshot over to the right. And finally, we want you to realize that if you're a current user of the legacy TRIVA mobile application, that the new ProjectHUB mobile app can be installed on your phone at the exact same time. So you can use both, compare, and slowly make the migration to using ProjectHUB mobile full-time. So as I said, this is a detailed overview. And the next thing we want to do is jump into a detailed demonstration of the application and take you through all of the navigation and every single feature of the application. Okay, let's take a detailed tour of the new ProjectHUB mobile application. As you can see on the screen, we have the login panel. Once the application is installed, we'll go ahead and tap login and proceed into the application. Now the application is smart in that it's going to return you to the last project that you were accessing. So if you had access to multiple projects, then it will take you back to the last one that you were looking at. For the purposes of our demo, I'm going to back up one panel by hitting that back arrow at the top, and this will basically present the list of available projects. Now, depending on your usage, the usage inside your company and your permissions level, you may only have access to one or two, but in this case you can see we have a number of projects. So first, let's examine some of the basic navigation around the application. You'll notice up at the very top we have the yellow menu bar with ProjectHUB in the center. We have the hamburger menu on the left, and we have a person menu on the right. So the hamburger menu, when it pops out, the very top item, their companies, may not be available to most customers if they are only associated with one client or one company. The rest of the items, project, support, about, and legal, will be there. The projects item will take you to the list of projects, which is what we were just looking at. On the right-hand side, you have profile and log out. Profile is pretty straightforward. It allows you to configure your profile with the application, your email address, your phone number, how you want to be notified, and even the schedule for how you want these notifications to work. So that's pretty straightforward and very similar, actually almost identical to the functionality that we had in the legacy TRIVA application. Okay, let's examine the project selector panel and the navigation around it. As you can see, we're looking at the project selector panel for the company Test Management. You can see that up at the top in the gray banner. Projects is the name of the panel. And you can see the list of projects from top to bottom there. The left side is obviously a picture or an image of the project. You have the project name, the address, the status of the project, whether it's active or provisioning or archived, those type of items that line up with the lifecycle support that ProjectHUB has. And then finally on the right hand side you'll see the selector that allows you to dig into or dive into the details around that project. You can obviously scroll around to get to what you're looking for. You can tap one of the images to see the details of the image. You'll notice that there are small hearts that are highlighted. These are my favorite projects, so you can favorite or unfavorite that project simply by tapping the heart. So on the Brazos project, the second item down, I'm just going to tap the heart to take the favorite away, and it'll drop back down in the normal order and just leave the items that are selected as favorites at the top. Finally, if you want to select a project, then you just tap the arrow over on the right, and that will take you into the details of the project. Let's dive into the details of a project. So for the very top project, Austin Office, we're going to select the arrow and look at the details. You'll notice that the gray title bar at the top changes. We're still under the test management client or company, and the name of the project is up there, Austin Office Test. Now you'll see a series of tiles or actions that you can take, and you'll notice down at the bottom that there are 2 dots because this is basically a carousel control where you can swipe to the right and you can get to more tasks. You'll notice the dot move to the right-hand side versus if we scroll back to the left, it moves to the left-hand side. The number of tasks that you have access to are going to vary based on your roles and permissions, but it's easy to quickly navigate between the left side of the carousel and the right side of the carousel. And as we add functionality to the application in the future, there may be additional pages to the carousel. One of the other things you'll notice up at the top is with the yellow status bar that we have 2 new icons that have appeared. The first one that you'll see is basically the send project notification icon. So if you tap that, you're going to get a list of project notifications that you're able to send based on how the administrator has configured your project, as well as what your permission levels are. So there's a general project alert. There's also a help request. We're going to select the help request, and you can see that it's pretty simple. It just comes up and it says help request, and you can tap the send button and it will initiate that request. It'll tell you, the message that's going to go out, and we're going to send it, and it's that simple. And now that help request goes out to the administrators on the project. So the different notifications here can be set up and configured by your administrator in such a way that it is custom for your particular project and your needs. We're going to tap the arrow at the top and back up. The other new icon at the top is the alerts icon. So alerts are specific to a project. You have alerts that are on project A that may not be on project B. And you'll notice as we were sitting here, that alert icon changed to have a number 1 beside it. And that tells me that I have 1 unread item. So I'm going to select it. And there at the very top, you can see it says emergency request with a little new icon. I'm going to expand it out. And you can see the message that was sent from the notification that we sent out just a few minutes earlier. I'm a project administrator on this project, so I was set up to receive that emergency request. But you can see all the various notifications that I've received. You can drill down into them and look at the specifics. So that's the purpose of that icon. And you'll see the number 1 clear here in just a second. There it goes to indicate that there are no unread notifications. Now let's examine the tasks on the first page of the carousel. So one of the things I want you to notice is the naming of the task. You have some tasks that start with the word project and some tasks that start with the word my. So for example, we have project dashboards, project information, project bulletins, and project weather as the first 4 tasks. And then the last 5 tasks are my time card, my certifications, my restrictions, my safety observations, and my details. So the key thing there is the wording that's in the front to kind of let you know what that task is about. Obviously, the project tasks are going to give you summary information or details from the project as a whole, whereas the my task are specific information about me as I am assigned to this particular project. So if I went to look at my certifications, it would be my certifications pertaining to the Austin Office project, since that's the project I'm looking at. Versus I looked at project dashboards, I'm looking at the dashboards for the Austin Office project, which is the project, again, that I've selected. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's look at a couple of these very quickly, and we'll just kind of march through them and kind of demonstrate the data that's here. Project dashboards, we will select it. The project dashboard screens will evolve and grow as we continue to add new functionality to the application. And you'll notice that we have labor and on-site. We have labor by category, on-site by category, labor members today, and on-site members today. And the difference there is the labor information is the curated data that comes from people that are manually detected as well as automatically checked in, as well as complying to any of the labor rules and policies that you have configured with your administrator. The on-site information is just raw detected data based on people that have tags, and none of that data is curated. So, depending on your application or usage of the application for your particular project, you can decide which one is appropriate to you. I'm going to focus on using the labor ones. It's the same information as far as the layout on both, but that'll just be part of the demo today is looking at the labor items. So I'm going to select labor by category. And you'll see that it comes up, and you can see it's talking about today, the 8th of September. Our total labor count is 15, and you can see where that quantity of 15 is coming from. You can see we have Palmetto State Glass, we have AA Roofing, we have Abbott, we have TRIVA Dev 2, and we have Bubba Gump. So, you can see the number of workers that are coming from each one of those. The other thing that's going to jump out to you real quick is you'll see below that we have additional teams that have 0 workers. So this gives you a really nice way to view which teams have workers on site today and which teams do not. And obviously the ones without workers are down at the bottom of the list. The other thing that you'll notice is that we have some icons there that are red and green, and you may even see a yellow one based on status. These are safety status indicators that you can see inside of the web console as well. And now you actually have them in the mobile application. And essentially this is based on the number of consecutive hours and their risk because of the hours that they've worked. Are they normal? Are they at a high safety risk? Or are they at a slight safety risk? And you'll see that change based on that quantity. So the red indicator indicates that there is at least one person in that status. The green indicator indicates that they're all at the green level. So gives you an idea of kind of the state of that team. You'll notice out to the right of the teams that have people on site are basically a couple of people icons out there. You can tap that and drill down in and see the details. So I'm going to tap the Palmetto State Glass. And now you can see the list of people that are making up the members that are on site today. And you can see which ones have a high safety status. You can see their details as to the fact that, hey, they've worked 20 or more hours in the previous day. And in this case, we're detecting that they probably left their hard hat on site. But the point is we're calling out people that have potentially been there too long and might be a safety risk. You finally scroll down here to the bottom and we have Adolfo, and in this case, Adolfo is normal. You can see that information. And if you want to drill down into a particular person to see more details, you can just tap that icon and it'll drill down into the details about that particular user. So easy to see, easy to look at those details, and then just hitting the up arrow at the top will back you back out. And we're back to the dashboard screen. Now, one of the things that we didn't look at on the screen at the very top, you'll see where it says Data Category Team. And you can look at this data based on team. You could also look at it based on labor attributes, if you have labor attributes configured for your particular project. So, when you hit that drop-down list, you may see other choices based on, how you have configured your project. In this particular project, which is the default mode that most customers will be in when they first start their project, is the only data category they're going to have is team. All right, so quick dashboard view of what's going on, which workers are on site, how long they've been there, and what is their safety status. So very, very useful dashboard. I'm going to hit the back arrow and back up, and we are now going to look at labor members today. This is a useful dashboard to basically show you how many people have been on site for the current day by the hour. So you can see it's broken out. We've had 15 people there from midnight until 11 a.m. and it's currently 11:17. You can see by the clock at the top of the screen. So this will give you an idea of who's been there, and the nice thing is each one of those bars you can tap and it will drill down into it, and you can see which the actual names of the people in the team and their start time as to when they were there during that particular time frame. So, we could go back to 3 a.m. and you can see the details. And again, for example, here, Abby Fenton, we can tap her icon and drill down and see the specific details around her. So that is a very useful dashboard as well with the drill down capability. And you have, similar filters. You can filter by a particular team. So on this one, we could say, you know what, I only care about, Bubba Gump. And at this point, you can see there's only been one person for Bubba Gump on site at all the different hours. The drill down still works, and you can see, that particular person. So that filter is very important, very easy to use. You can clear it and go back to the screen you were on before. All right, so that's a quick view of dashboards. I'm going to back out, and we'll look at project information next. And project information is just what you would expect. It's basically going to be a map view of your project based on the coordinates and the address of your project, a picture, and the address. So that information is there, it's easy to see, and available at any time. All right, the next thing on the list are project bulletins. So we're going to tap project bulletins, and project bulletins at this point displays project-defined bulletins as well as global bulletins. And up at the top, we have a project bulletin because we have the little project icon out to the left of it. And this one is about food trucks, and you can see the information that's being displayed there. If I scroll down a little bit more, there is basically a global bulletin, you can tell, or a company-wide bulletin based on the company icon that's up there. And this one is about COVID-19 awareness. You can see it's formatted nicely with bullet points, so on and so forth. And then finally at the bottom, we have some additional safety information. So the bulletins are there. You can always point people to things. This is where you can post new information. Bulletins can have expiration dates, so they can come and go automatically based on how you configured the data. So very useful feature to be the communications hub for your project. Project weather, pretty straightforward. You can tap the weather icon and get the current conditions. You'll notice the icons down at the bottom tell you now versus hourly versus daily versus any weather alerts. So current conditions now versus predicted conditions for the next couple of hours. You can see the temperatures rising up to 95 degrees and then starting to come back down. Any one of these you can expand out and see a few more details around predicted conditions hourly. Daily is the same way. You can see the daily conditions with the highs and the lows. You can drill down to any particular day and see additional details. All right, and then finally, alerts. Are there any active weather alerts coming from the National Weather System? Those would show up here as well. That's weather. So now we're going to look at time cards. So if I am assigned to the project and I'm actively working on the project, then you can see the number of hours that I have been on the site this week. And you can see the day of the week on the left, the total hours on the right, and then your total hours down there at the bottom. So you can drill down into it and see specifics just by tapping the appropriate bar. And you'll also notice up at the top, you can change the week. This is the current week, but if I wanted to back up and see the previous week, we can do that as well. Easy to do, and it shows you your information. Again, that's me, Chris Gaskins, as the user that is logged in and looking at these icons. I can view my certifications, and this is going to come up, and it will show me the certifications. I have a certification for first aid and CPR, as well as a hoist certification, and you can expand those and see the details. I can see if I have any restrictions placed upon me, and I am unrestricted, so there are no issues, and I can work without any problems. Safety observations, you can tap that. There are currently no safety observations posted or about myself. And then finally, our details. So the details show my detailed information. There could be a picture there if I had placed that in, as well as contact, phone information, emergency data. All that information is present. All right, that's the first carousel. Okay, let's take a look at the second page of the carousel. I'm just going to swipe to the right You can see the additional task up here. Now these tasks are available for people that have a higher level privilege and roles, for example, project managers, project administrators. The first item that we'll look at is the Read Tag QR. This obviously brings up a QR reader. You could quickly scan the tag, and if the tag is associated to a person, you'll be brought to the details around that person, versus if it's not associated to a person, it's a free tag or an open tag, then you can add that tag to the system and associate it to a member. The next item in the list is the Members panel. So we're going to select the Members item, and you can see your list of members. Any of these you can obviously scroll around, you can see who you're looking for, you can just tap the details information. You can see that we're looking at the details around Alan Jackson. In this particular case, we have a photo associated. You can look at the close-up of the photo. You can see any additional details, and obviously if you have edit permissions, with the edit icon in the top right corner, you can perform an edit. There are other ways to navigate here. You may want to just do a search. So you could do a search on just Alan, for example, and that helps you find people a little bit faster. Or you can also use the filter, where you can filter based on team, project role, or company role. So for example, you might only want to look for people that work for Bubblegum, and you get your list. So very straightforward. You can clear that filter, go back to where you were. So a nice way to access all of the information around the members associated with your project. The next thing I want to look at is assigning existing members. So you may have a team member that's worked on another project. You want to assign them to this project. It's very simple. You just tap Assign Existing Members. You get your list of people that are working on other projects but not assigned to this project, and you can do a search, or you can scroll and find them, and then you can simply just do a tap, and then they were going to come into an edit mode, and you have the ability to assign their role, give them an effective date, and at this point we're just going to take the defaults and we'll save, and you can see that this person was successfully added. So very simple to assign an existing. An add new is very similar, except for the fact that you're going to get a blank form, and in this case you can add name, first name, last name, you can scan a tag, you can add a picture, you can fill in all the appropriate data, and then obviously hit the save button at the top and add them to the project. The next item in the list is check in, and then to the right of that is check out. So this is where you might be checking people in manually to your project or checking them out manually. Maybe it's a temporary worker that you don't want to assign a tag. There are lots of reasons why you may want to do this, but you have that capability just like you do in the web UI on the mobile app. So you can hit check in members, and you'll get your list of members. Now, up at the top, you have the same search bar. You also have a filter where you can filter it based on team, or you can filter it based on status. You can see by the green icon here, I have a number of people that are already checked in. There are other people that aren't. So for example, we could check in Alan Jackson here simply by tapping the check-in button. We can check them in now, but we may want to override the time because, let's say Alan actually started at 8 a.m. this morning. And we can set the time to 8 a.m. and we can check them in. So at this point, it's going to check Alan in, and you can see the screen updated there, and Alan is now checked in. You can also do a quick check-in if you want to just take the defaults and just grab the person and swipe to the right. And that will check Alfred in at the current time, and he is now checked in at this point. The other thing you can do is you can select multiple people, and you can check in multiple by hitting the check boxes and then hitting the check-in button in the top right corner. And now you can check in multiple people at the same time. So we'll check those guys in. And you can see that those 3 people were checked in. So you have multiple options for checking people in and out. And, using, swipe versus a detailed versus a multiple. The checkout is basically just the opposite. You have people that are manually checked in and you want to check them out. You have your same search. You have your ability to filter on the status. Now in this case, I'm only showing people that are checked in because it kind of only makes sense to check out people that are checked in. So you can come in here, for example, and we can go back and we continue to work, for example, with some of these folks. I'll pick, Barney Rubble and Alan Jackson, and we will check them out. So we'll say check them out. We'll check them out now, and that will allow us to do so. So very easy to do. One of the other nice capabilities in the product is detect members. Now, detect members, when you tap this, it's going to immediately start scanning for tags to see if there are any tags in close proximity to your phone. So this is about your phone looking for the Bluetooth signals, and essentially you can see that it found my tag, Chris Gaskin. So that is the tag that's closest to me. You can see the little indicator there to let you know if you are close or far. Right now I'm about 10 feet away from the tag. I'm going to move a little bit closer to it, and you should see that indicator refresh here in just a few seconds as it gets a new tag beacon. The other thing you can do from this screen, obviously, is stop the scan. So you can stop the scan, you can restart the scan, or you can tap the person's details and view, obviously, the details about that person. So you can see the indicator got a little bit more positive there as I got closer to it. So that is tag detection. Manage certifications is down at the bottom. This is where you can go in and see your list of certifications. In this case, you can see I have 2 defined. I have first aid and I have hoist. And on the first aid one, you can see that there are 17 people that are certified, 28 that are not. And on the hoist, you can see there's 13 certified and 32 that are not. So if I tap first aid, we're going to go into that particular certification. You can see the list of people. And you can see some are granted, some are not granted. We can do some filtering, and we can say, you know what, we only want to see people that are all uncertified. So these are only people that are not certified. And I may go, yeah, these first, 4 or 5 people here, they all completed their certification yesterday. So I can do that, and I can hit the plus button, and I can tell you that they are now certified. And I can hit save. So, and they all clear from the list because I said only show me certified people. I'm sorry, uncertified people. The same thing applies here in that you can just tap the person's icon on the right and do a single check-in there, or just like with the check-in, check-out, you can do a swipe to the right and do an immediate grant, and doesn't allow you to do any overrides. So a couple ways to do it. You can swipe it, you can tap the individual person, or you can multi-select and tap the top right corner and do a check-in for multiple. So I do a grant for multiple. So, gives you an easy way to see your totals as well as perform the appropriate actions. Your restrictions, it's the same thing. You're just managing restrictions versus certifications. So it's the same concept, the same actions that we kind of already talked about. So I'll change this to all, and you can see your list. So that search and that filter is very, very powerful for getting to the right people. All right, the last thing in the list is station status. If you have TRIVA base stations deployed on your site, which most customers do, you want to know the status of those base stations, you can tap that. You can see your list of base stations. In this case, I only have 1, and you can view the details. Right? When was the last time it checked in? Is its status online? What does its modem signal strength look like? So it kind of gives you an idea of the health of that station. So that is a quick tour of the ProjectHUB Mobile version 2. I hope you enjoyed that detailed overview of the TRIVA ProjectHUB mobile app. The slide you're viewing now is just here for summary purposes, in case you want to refer back to the list of all the capabilities of the new mobile app. And then finally, the last slide you just want to show are just some screenshots in case you want to share these with your organization so that they can get a feel for what the new mobile app looks like and hopefully get excited about using it. So again, thank you for spending time and learning about the TRIVA ProjectHUB mobile application. If you have questions or you have suggestions for enhancements or new features, please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. Thank you.